Good morning, everyone. Day 2 of the wedding in Draginovo. Ah, we didn't sleep yet much yesterday, and the preparations for today continue. And I just want to show you what I discovered here in the home. These are like small pigeons, a small dog, and more pigeons. Hello, doggy. That's funny. Okay, so yesterday the dances continued until 3 a.m. as the people told me here. And everyone was dancing, the girls especially, and then people were tired and they went to sleep. And this morning we wake up at 6:30 and we continue to prepare today, the second day. So the guys are collecting water and preparing 4 fireplaces for cooking. So they're bringing big water containers, they're bringing the water to boil, and at 8 o'clock the master of cooking, or the chef, will come and they'll start preparing halva and so keshkek, which is made of corn. And I'm also going to try it for the first time. These are two very traditional things for here. Halva is actually Turkish, but it's also very popular in Bulgaria. It's a sweet, and myself, I have never cooked it, so we just buy from the store. I don't know how it's also cooked. And the other one, I don't even know if I pronounce the name correctly. I have never heard of it, and for me it will also be the first time that I've tried. So I'm very excited and sleepy and tired, but that's how it life is. And then in the afternoon, the cooking will continue in the restaurant, because the restaurant there's more space to cook for such huge amounts of people. They're expected to be 400 to 600 people, with live music and everything around. So the cooking will be continued in the restaurant by the men as well. Oh my god, crazy stuff happening, people, crazy stuff. So basically we're doing first the halva, and we have here the master chef giving us the receipt and the orders basically. And it's very interesting. I'm also surprised all the time. What are we doing? So first we boiled the oil, so we cleaned the container. It shouldn't contain any water. And then we put 12 liters of oil and we let it boil. And regular we check if it's ready boiling. We check with a piece of bread, and if it's like fried already, then it's good to go. So we're checking this a couple of times. We're waiting maybe for 20 minutes, and then we added 26 kilograms of flour. And now the guys have to sit for 1.5 hours, and I'm just shocked. 1.5 hours. That's why they're just changing every minute, and we have like around 10-15 guys here, and they're changing every minute. One is holding the container not to get down from the fire, and it's very hot there, and they're boiling, and the flour is getting very thick, so it's very difficult actually to boil, but to mix, and but it has to become like kind of fluid, and this can take up to 1.5-2 hours. Very, very tough job. That's why actually many people from the village are gathering, many men, and they're helping out. Crazy, crazy. Trying the final version. Много е хубава.
Бака ще даде ли друга?
Много е хубава.
Аз ще му кажа, ще ги питам сега дали що става долу с...
Супер. Супер. It's very, very delicious actually. Very, very good. Тя ще се втвърди ли още или така мека ще се?
Стане мека да кажа.
Amazing. The next traditional dish that we prepared was keshkek. We cooked ground corn for 3 to 4 hours, and at the same time we were also frying cracklings. When the corn was ready, we added the cracklings into the corn, and then we kept on boiling for 1 hour more until it was done. Then the master chef added salt. Then the opinion of the community was asked, is the salt enough? So first the men tried, and then of course later the master ladies were asked if the salt is okay, and everyone agreed that the salt was good, and we kept on going.
Ай, сега ще снимате, по телевизора ще дават.
Но нема. Стига, не дай, стига. Стига сол. Стига.
Айде да пробвам за сол, метел я огън.
Духай, пари. По телевизията ще дават.
Нема лошо.
По телевизията ще дават, внимай само капаш.
Не, мисля, че е достатъчно.
Достатъчно.
Който еде солено, може, да. Достатъчно я. Extra.
Добре.
Super.
And today we have a new dress, of course, which is more celebrational, more festive. This kind of also coat again. They were only the married women, but however, I just wanted to be fancy and colorful as all other women here around. And it's actually very interesting because many women wear not only t-shirts below that, but also a second coat or a woolen pullover. And I got really like shocked because it's July, it's 30 degrees, and they still carry this, and I was speechless. They have the woolen socks. Oh my god, they're extremely beautiful, but 30 degrees. Oh my god. And they just do it for the tradition, to be kept, to be beautiful, and to maybe a little bit show off with their beautiful socks. But I would also do it, honestly. Today we have a little bit more modern way of the wedding, because the bride wears white dress because that's what she wanted. She has a beautiful hairstyle, flowers, and however all other guests, women or people from the village, they wear traditional clothes. Mostly the women, the guys are just wearing shirts and jeans. They're more official, but just normal clothes, like nothing like traditional style like this. And usually they are in separated rooms, kind of, so it looks very funny to me, where just the guys standing somewhere in another room and just watching from the side, and all the women, they're welcoming the guests. They're so fancy dressed, and you know, they're separated kind of, and they barely talk to each other. But this is how here it is. And then I asked one of the guys, why are they looking like really like punished, like just in the corner like this and just watching everyone. And then he told me, yeah, they just wait for the guys to get drunk, then everyone will mixed up. So that's really funny. So let's see what it will look like later tonight. And also right now actually they're happening 2 weddings, one from the bride family and then one from the groom family, at their places respectively or their chosen restaurants. So today in the morning we cooked in the home of the bride, which was very, very tasty, which was delicious, and which took like maybe for the halva 3 hours and for the other thing 4 hours to cook, because first of all we cook in huge quantities, second of all it just takes a lot of time in slow cooking, but it was worth it in the end. So one was sweet, halva is sweet, and the other one is made of corn and meat as well, and a lot of oil. Very caloric dense. Anyway, afterwards the guys, the men of the family, they headed towards the restaurant where they would celebrate, and they had lunch. It was around 3 o'clock. The ladies, however, they stayed in the home and then cleaned after the cooking, which took a little bit of time, and then everyone went home in the end. They had a little bit rest, they had a shower, the men, they shaved, and they all get dressed. Especially the hosts or the family members of the bride, they should be very fancy and elegantly dressed. So this is very, very important. And at 4:30 they went to the main restaurant today, where they will gather, celebrate. And now the people from the whole village are coming, and they have dinner. Basically the dinner will be the same that we had beforehand. So everyone comes whenever they come. They give gifts to the bride, to the mother of the bride. They are being welcomed, they take pictures, and The live music is already here, and they start dancing traditional Bulgarian folk dances, which is called horo, in a circle. Everyone participates, everyone is enjoying, also the kids. The same situation is happening at the groom's place, and they will come later tonight, hopefully with live music, with the drums, with a lot of noise, and they'll make sure that everyone in the village knows that there's a wedding. And again, there will be more celebrations, they'll eat more, they'll drink more, and they'll even dance more until the night. This is a little bit more modern way of doing it, because in the past, instead of the restaurant, they were gathering at home. But however, because it's just big, and this is the decision of the couple, they wanted to do it like this. Tomorrow we will have also another restaurant and another dinner. However, it will be even more official, and there the families will stay together. So not like now, where men separate from women, but they will be in a family-wise, like seated, which will be also very nice to see. In the village, there are 3 mineral baths, which are for free, and the water is known to be very healing, to have healing properties. It is 95 degrees, it comes directly from the earth, from the springs. And what the women told me here, in the morning from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. it's ladies' time, where all the ladies gather, they have the swimming suit, and actually they just take a bath in the water. And when it gets dark, so after 6 p.m. around, the guys are coming. And Fridays only, it's only guys' day, and the rest is just mixed. And many people go. And it's also acting as a social service where people just gather, they talk, they gossip a little bit, and it's very interesting. And I'm very happy that this is still kept alive, because nowadays what we see is just like the ruins from the old Roman baths, and we should just imagine it. And also in the saunas nowadays, nobody talks to each other, but this is still kept alive, and I actually want to experience it. So maybe tomorrow, if there's a lady who wants to bring me, I would like to go and experience it. Yes, that's about the mineral baths. There are 2 mosques in the village, one old and one newer one. And interestingly, they have 2 different entrances, one for gentlemen and one for ladies, and they can go whenever they want. And what today also happened, what really kind of not shocked me, but it was just like kind of, like just life. When I was going out with the car out of the village, there was a gathering of old ladies with white hair towels, just completely white, not like this very colorful, but very white. And people told me that there was a funeral. So an old lady died in the morning, and the funeral was on the same day. And this is usually how it's done here. If the person dies late in the afternoon, then they prolong it for the next day. Or if the person has also very close relatives and they have to come from abroad or from another city, they also prolong it with 1 more day. But usually the funeral is just right after the death of the person. So it was an old lady who died. And it was just like interesting that to see in the one end of the village a funeral, and in the other one a marriage, a wedding, where people in the other one celebrated death, the end of life, and they celebrated the beginning of life together with another person, sharing life, of creating new life as well. So it was kind of, to see both events in one place, it was very grounding and deep, profounding, and actually reminded me that death and marriage and life, they belong together, they're not separated. And also I saw some ladies from the funeral, they came later to the wedding, so it's just part of life, it belongs together, and we shouldn't kind of separate them. I'm here now in the central place of the village. Here behind me, this is the stage, the main stage, which stays here for the whole year, which is not actually usual. Usually in Bulgaria, they just build the stages for a concert, and then they disassemble it. But here this stays for the whole year. Then we have some shops here. We have a small restaurant. The orange building behind me is the library, and where like public events happen. And then the other old orange building, this one behind me, is the municipality. And on the one side, on the last floor, there's also 2 doctors and 2 nurses. There is no hospital here. They're just two general practitioners and the two nurses. And if you want to go to, if you need to go to hospital, for example, also giving birth, then you have to go to the close by city, which is Velingrad. But this is just like 3 kilometers far away, so it's not that far away, luckily. The village is growing, which is very nice and surprising. It's growing towards the city. New houses are being built, huge houses are being built, like 4 or 5 floors of houses. And people want to stay here, young people want to stay here, to live here, although they're working abroad, some of them, many of them. They send all their money here and they celebrate here. So this is very interesting as well, to hear, to see, and also to see this kind of very isolated part of the world that still exists. And I'm so happy that actually it's still existing. The people want to keep their traditions alive, and they insist on them as far as they can. Maybe the weddings in the future will not look like this. They will not paint the faces of the bride. Tonight we see the bride is wearing white dress. So who knows? Who knows how this will look in the future? And I feel just like I'm talking too much. I love it. It just feels like not from this world. And I'm so surprised that this is happening in Bulgaria, actually. And I just love it, you know, like this is happening in the summer almost every weekend. And I already got invited to 2 more weddings this summer, which is funny. I would love to attend, but this is also so far away from my place, so it would take me 8 hours just to come here. But I would love to attend if I'm in close by. I would love to join you guys. Summary of day 2. It's midnight. We started at 6:30. We have eaten a lot. There were around 500 guests. We danced for 6 hours. We ate a lot, but actually there was not much alcohol. Like people didn't drink that much. Wings broken off my drone, 4. And I think what else? Pictures made, thousands. The most important thing is that all of the people had fun, a lot of fun. And now I'm super happy, I'm super tired. And I'm going to home to fix my drone because the wings got broken. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 3. Bye bye, and like and subscribe.
Thank you.